Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with the Scrambled Egg Omelet. That's right, say goodbye to the days when you had to decide whether you wanted to make scrambled eggs or make an omelet. Since with this exciting breakthrough in the latest breakfast technology, you're now able to have both at the same time. And by the way, if you're one of the viewers that had a little bit of trouble mastering the French omelet technique we posted, this is going to give you basically the same results with an easier, simpler method. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. With 3 large eggs we've cracked into a bowl. And while this technique will work with 2 eggs, I do recommend 3 because I think the texture does come out a little bit better. And then to these eggs, I'm going to add a little pinch of salt, but not too much because I'm going to put some cheddar cheese in these. I'm also going to do a few shakes of cayenne. And then for a little bit of a French twist, I'm going to do some finely and freshly chopped herbs, parsley, marjoram, and thyme to be exact. And then last but not least, a couple generous tablespoons of grated, sharp white cheddar cheese. And then we'll go ahead and work these over with a fork until just combined. And as long as you don't use too much, feel free to add whatever ingredients you want. Whether it's a different cheese or some diced ham or vegetables, pretty much anything goes. I mean, you are, after all, the Penn Jillette of your scrambled egg omelet. And the real magic trick here is the method, not necessarily the ingredients. All right, as long as you got the eggs, this is going to work no matter what you put in. And then what we'll do once we have all that mixed together is go ahead and grab a spatula, and we will head to the stove, where we will transfer these into a small nonstick pan set over medium heat, into which I drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Although if you want, you can use butter. But I figured since I was going to have the butter fat from the cheese in this already, that I would go with olive oil this time. Or maybe I was out of butter. Okay, there's no way you'll ever really know. But anyway, once those have been transferred in, we will simply start cooking those over medium just like we're making scrambled eggs. Pretty much keeping things moving constantly. And whenever we see a little bit of egg splash up on the side, we definitely want to make sure we mix that back into the middle, so we don't have parts getting overcooked. And then what we'll do when it just starts to come together like this is reduce our heat from medium down to low, and then continue to stir and scramble. Again, making sure we're scraping that egg off the sides. And what we'll do is cook these on low until our scrambled eggs are almost but not quite done. All right, they still should be fairly wet at this stage. But what we'll do when they look just about like this is turn off our heat, and we will begin to form our omelet. And to do that, we're going to basically push everything down to the bottom, while at the same time tilting our pan. And the reason we're doing this is we're basically going to use that curve in the side of the pan to create our perfect omelet shape. And what we'll do once we have everything down there is just continue to go around with the edge of our spatula, sort of tucking and shaping those edges nicely. And even though the heat's off, that pan is still going to be pretty hot, and we're still going to have a good amount of residual heat in our eggs. So our scrambled egg omelet's basically going to finish cooking while we're doing this shaping stage. And then as far as the dismount goes, once we have that beautifully formed, and our eggs are still pretty soft but they're holding their shape, we'll go ahead and turn our heat back on to medium for just like 15 seconds to sort of form a skin on the surface of our eggs, which is really going to give it that classic omelet look. And I should mention this was a little bit challenging because I have the tripod and camera right in front of me, so I'm actually doing a reach around, trying not to bump the camera as I work. And that's it. After about 15 seconds or so, we will turn off the heat and go ahead and plate that up, which I did next to some whole grain toast that I spread with mixed berry jam. And all we need to do is carefully flop that over, and voila! What appears to be a perfectly made omelet. Except I realized the curved side was facing the wrong way. So I quickly pulled off the toast and performed the old scrambled egg omelet slide. Since having that go in the wrong direction would have really bothered me. Oh yeah, that is much better. And I put my toast back on and finished up with a little more fresh herb. And I could not have been happier with how this looked. But forget about the appearance, which while gorgeous is not the main point of this technique. All right, the reason we're really doing this is because it produces an incredibly moist and tender omelet. And to achieve that, all we basically did was just make a really nice batch of scrambled eggs and then wrap it in this omelet shell. And give or take a few tablespoons of butter, the texture here is extremely similar to your classic French omelet. And while I really don't consider that technique overly difficult, this is definitely easier, and I'd say there's fewer things that can go wrong. And right here, you're going to get a great look at all those gorgeous layers of egg. And sure, the cheese helps, but even done with just eggs, you should be seeing a very similar outcome. Oh, by the way, I didn't serve this with toast and jam just because I thought it would look pretty, or because maybe I was out of butter, but rather because it was an absolutely perfect pairing with that white cheddar and fresh herbs in the eggs. Just a match made in breakfast heaven. But anyway, that's it. What we're calling a scrambled egg omelet. And you know what would have been great with this? That's right, some hash brown home fries. With maybe a side of bacon sausage. But anyway, whether you just can't decide whether to make scrambled eggs or an omelet, or you've always wanted to make one of those fancy French omelets, but it just seemed a little too fussy. Either way, I really do hope you give this a try soon. So please follow the links below for the ingredient amounts, a printable written recipe, and much more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.